What can we do with the power of thought? Can we rid ourselves of diseases and change our fate with the power of thought? Can we move things by the power of thought without touching them? Striking explanations by scientists on the power of thought, and very special techniques to improve your thinking power. You will watch this episode with interest. Humans have become the most dominant species on Earth, with large and complex brains that have led to the development of sophisticated tools, culture, and language. Humans are extremely social creatures, and they tend to live in societal constructions of a large number of groups, which are examples of family and relative relationships, and competing and cooperating, all the way to governments. The human brain is an organ that serves as the center of our nervous system. All vertebrate animals, and most invertebrate animals, have a brain except for some sponges, jumpsuits, and invertebrates like the leather thorns. The brain at close proximity to organs that serve senses such as hearing, taste, vision, balance, smell is the most complex organ in the vertebrate's body. Some animals have developed over thousands of years, adapting to their environment even without brains. The animal without both a brain and a heart is the jellyfish. Jellyfish lack both a brain and a heart. Today, however, they can live comfortably despite these two shortcomings. Thinking is unique to many creatures. Those who are mentally unstable are called crazy. Thinking is a difficult thing. It takes both strength and ability to think and act. So, what do you think human beings, who have very powerful abilities, can do with the power of thought? What's the power of thought? What's the use? How can a person use brain and thinking power? Thoughts are words in your brain that push you to do something. Indeed, this question has puzzled scientists for decades, and the final answer is still being studied. In these studies, it has been found that people can control some things with the power of thought. Most of us are very thoughtful these days. A lot of thoughts actually come into your head during the day. Ideas, things you want to do, people you want to be with, something you want to say to someone, something you need to buy. We always think about these things. Some of our thoughts are positive and show you what you need to do to be who you want to be. These help speed up events. But negative thoughts will instill in you a kind of fear so that you don't do what you need to do. These slows things down. This shows that thought has power. As David Allen said, it's one thing to have only thoughts, to consciously feed them is something else entirely. If you have a good idea and you don't pay enough attention to it, it will water up in your mind and disappear. You should take a note of these thoughts. Take notes so you don't forget. Thought is a flower that has not yet grown. But if you do something, and you even write it down to a place where you can review it and rethink it later, your neurological system starts to respond to that idea, and come up with new ideas and thoughts. When you nurture your thoughts with attention and care, your thoughts settle into your subconscious mind and from there influence your actions. It will use any trick that makes you do it. It's not enough to embrace good ideas and throw away bad ones. You should pay attention to your thoughts and intend to act on them. You have the power to create something from your thoughts, to change your life and to influence the lives of others. How will we use our power of thought? How did a paralyzed woman use it? And that woman is cured? Neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to continually create new neural pathways. When we replicate a skill that we're trying to master, we reinforce the neural networks that represent that action. The same happens physically in the brain, whether we perform the action or simply visualize it. Your brain cannot tell the difference between an action you perform and an action you visualize. Research from the Department of Psychological Sciences at Purdue University has found that social or emotional pain is as real and intense as physical pain. The same brain networks are activated as when a person experiences a physical injury, experiences a painful emotional experience. Your brain cannot distinguish physical and emotional pain. There are numerous studies proving that your brain cannot distinguish the difference between a real and an imagined threat. The physical response is the same. You can change everything with the power of thought. Whenever we have an experience, the corresponding neurons are activated. Each time they are activated, they are slightly raised in order of importance. Repeating or prolonging an experience will keep the connections between neurons strong and make them last. Everything you experience will change the physical structure of your brain in some way. The things you do, the people you spend time with, every emotion, thought and automatic experience affects the wiring of your brain to make you who you are and influence who you can become. Many people are told to focus on the positive in life, to block negative thoughts, experiences, and situations that we see in ourselves. This suggestion may help in the moment, but there is a lot of evidence that in the long run, ignoring these negative emotions does not make us happier. Susan David is a professor in the Department of Psychology at Harvard. Ms. David published a book called Being Emotionally Strong, Not Being Stuck, Embracing Change, and Succeeding in Business. The main focus of this book is to help people understand and deeply investigate their situation by removing them from the way they think positive. The only way to increase our awareness and be a better person is to develop ourselves, to determine our purpose and our choices in life, said Ms. David. David offers a series of steps for people who begin to feel uncomfortable, and says that through this it is possible to develop and to experience. According to Susan David, trying to focus only on the positive in our lives can cause problems as it removes the need to go outside ourselves as we try to find our way in the world through experience. Our contract with life is a contract linked to vulnerability, sadness, and anxiety. If we are to be truthful and meaningful in this world, we can't live our lives by focusing on one dimension, and we can't expect this one-dimensional understanding of it to give us a multifaceted life. For this reason, you can develop our power of thought in the following way. Sometimes it can be very difficult to touch our emotions. But it's not impossible when we're willing to try and be better. In order to create change, you first need awareness. This is a term we see in many self-help books today. What this means is that we need investment to make the most of our lives and embrace our differences. We have to give ourselves permission to recognize our feelings. We need to put all of our skills and resources on the table to show ourselves, to understand our most basic feelings. This is a very important first step. When we look at ourselves with all our good and bad points, even the worst monsters retreat with awareness and acceptance. We have to be observers of ourselves. People don't experience a lot of the things they encounter, they don't evaluate the situation they're in, or they just watch from a distance. In the second step, David encourages them to step outside their comfort zone. This can be uncomfortable, but it can help you see how you behave when you encounter negativity, and you can start to develop skills to recognize it when it arises. First, you have to change your beliefs and habits about what psychologists say about what goes on in your mind. When you deepen yourself, when you learn how to make small changes in different areas of your life, you can achieve lasting change without changing the course of your life. Everything to be able to go further, but we can't learn how to transform things without taking the time to question the negatives in our lives. David says that to make a change in our lives we need to do something challenging. The most effective way to transform your life is not to quit your job and go to the Far East, but to do what you can with what you have, where you are. It's kind of like boring self-help advice in the hands of a newspaper over the weekend, but it works. As a result of their work for more than 15 years, scientists have managed to move prosthetic limbs and robots with the power of thought. The first example in this regard was the paralyzed Kathy Hutchinson. In the US, 2 people who have been paralyzed for many years have moved their robotic arms with the power of thought. The website of the journal Nature has published a report showing how 2 people who lost the use of their legs and arms due to a stroke they suffered years ago were able to control their independent robotic arms with the help of a tiny sensor implanted in their brains. The report, based on work by scientists from Brown University and Harvard Medical School, said the baby aspirin-sized sensor focused on the electrical activity of several dozen brain cells as participants imagined moving their arms. The sensor was later reported to have transmitted the signals to a computer that sent them to robotic arms in the form of commands. During the experiment, the participants, one of whom was a woman and the other a man, tried to direct the robot arms to reach the balls in front of them and squeeze them. Male participants succeeded in less than 50% of their ventures, while female participants succeeded in more than 60%. Kathy Hutchinson, a female participant, was additionally asked to drink coffee using her arm. This was noted as 3 separate actions, in which she had to lift the bottle, take it to her lips to be able to drink with a straw, and put the bottle back on the table, and in 4 out of 6 attempts she was successful. Dr. Lee Hochberg, one of the researchers, said that for the female participant, the smile on her face was amazing. Experts say the experimental, brain-controlled studies will help people with paralysis in their daily lives when technology develops and costs fall. Experts continue to find evidence that our positive and negative thoughts not only have psychological effects, but also physical effects on our bodies. The advantages of positive thinking include less stress, better physical and emotional health, longer lifespan, and better coping skills. The human brain thinks in words. People experience their emotions through their thoughts. They also exhibit behavior according to their emotional state. Sometimes this chain can develop as emotion, thought, behavior, or behavior, emotion, thought. Thoughts make humans' destiny. What we call a self-fulfilling prophecy is sometimes created by the environment and sometimes by the person himself. Usually one does it by oneself. Ultimately, it is up to the individual to believe what the environment tells them and perceive it as their destiny. What needs to be done is to strengthen the weak link in the chain. And that's by changing the way you think about it, which is the source of the problem. Replacing the negative sentence with positive sentences with positive words is enough to break the paradox. One technique to help you think more positively is to become aware of your negative self-talk and replace negative thoughts with positive ones. Sometimes we imagine the worst of ourselves or situations, and often we become oblivious of the negative thoughts. The power of positive thinking is your character and lifestyle. How you evaluate the events you are experiencing and how you will react to the events that will come in front of you is a reflection of your positive thinking power. You have to really believe in what you want to do. The doubts that go through your mind, the hesitations, are the barrier to positive thinking. If you want to gain a positive mindset, it is not difficult. You can develop it with a little exercise. Try to replace negative self-talk with positive words. For example, replace the statement, "I hate getting up in the morning," with, "I am grateful for a new day." Avoid negative words like "I can't," "worried," "scared," "sad," "tired," "bored." It is important to actively think about how you feel and your life. Try to catch yourself thinking negatively, and say, "Stop," to orient yourself to positive thoughts. In the face of a smiling, lively face, no one can stand unhappy and sullen. Our subconscious usually mirrors and influences the other person. You smile so that the other person smiles too. The basic human desire is to feel loved, and sometimes that love comes from within. And in order to love ourselves fully, we must incorporate healthy habits into our lives, for a well-fed body, mind and soul. Several ways to feed your body are to exercise, eat healthy food and connect with others. A few ways to feed your mind are doing mind puzzles, meditating, breathing deeply and laughing. Together with these activities, you can develop positive thinking and a positive outlook by nourishing both the body and the mind. It is scientifically impossible to move an object with the power of thought. But if your thinking changes, your life changes. Favors take action. And the movement of a good life is worth more than the movement of a chair. Please start today.